Derek's on the road again, driving a familiar route up to the northeast of England.
Most valuable piece of scrap in Gateshead, they tell me.
He's picking up 2 cars from David Knowles, a man who's moving house and needs to create some space.
We'll be still here tonight, but there'll be no furniture.
There's no room to keep the cars at the new house then?
I built it with a garage and a half, which I could have got 2 of the cars in, and then I've just built another little garage out the back. Unfortunately, my wife collared the internal garage for a very large utility room, so no cars.
The 2 cars Derek will be collecting are very different beasts.
We're going to pick up today a lovely Alvis, a gorgeous Alvis. The only downside is they're not the easiest things to sell. Not so much Alvis, a good following for Alvis, but pre-war cars in general. So a lot more confidence in this creating more interest than, say, the equivalent Austin or Morris. The only downside, of course, is the Alvis is twice the price.
The other car is a sporty 1983 Mercedes 380 SL.
The old Merc SLs, they're okay. I'm hoping it's got a hardtop because people do expect them to come with a hardtop. We make sure that if there is a hardtop, we secure it on the car. Not drive away and then get halfway home and think, you know, I saw a hardtop hanging up in the garage here. We should have got that while we were there. Too late then. I've always got a plan, sadly not here, very often back here, but the problem is it don't normally come off, or it don't often come off, but today it will. Are you all right?
I'm good, you?
Yeah, okay, mate, yeah.
Stopped for a sleep, did you?
Hey?
Stopped for a sleep.
Stop for a bloody break.
Derek wants the Merc on first, but there's a problem. It's off-site.
Oh, no, is it?
Only 5 minutes away.
Oh, bugger.
So if you want to take me down, and or I'll take you down.
What, your motor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, do that, yeah.
Just,
I think we're leaving that where it is for a minute or two. So.
Right, let's go and
get
this
this motor, yeah. Yeah, let's go and do that, yeah.
The Merc SL is parked up in a nearby town, and thankfully, the hard top is on.
Nice colour, that. She's ever so low on the front, you know. She's ever so low. Definitely. Saw one a little while ago, the bloke said, just had new springs on it. Turns out they put the springs on wrong, but whatever they've done, I don't know. But it's too low, I'll tell you that now. Look at it, look.
The truth of whether this car is a pudding, though, is in the driving.
Suspension's a little bit jiggity. It actually drives nice, it's feeling nice. Engine's responsive. Steering itself feels okay, nice and light, of course, power steering. So yeah, this goes well, look. Nice old motor. A lot of car for the money, as we say.
And what money will that be?
Well, I personally reckon it's 10 grand myself, right? But we're going to obviously hope for more, aren't we?
The Mercedes SLR 107 was regarded by many as the sensible person's sports car. Stylish and fast, but also spacious and safe. It had a hard act to follow. Its predecessor was the W113, known as the Pagoda, because of the sloping shape of its roof. The creation of legendary car designer Paul Brack, it's considered to be one of the most beautiful cars ever built, and pristine examples go for eye-watering sums.
I'm going to get her lined up and we'll get her on. Right, we're going straight on the top. Right, mate, your turn.
Next up, the Alvis, and Derek's smitten.
I like that. I think that's a lovely looking car, that. Just show me how to start it then.
Yeah. You get in, pull the knob. All the paperwork's there, so I'd take that in the cab in case it blows away. You know what this is, don't you?
Dipstick?
This is the dipstick for the petrol tank.
Yeah. Well, it's even marked.
1, 2, 3, 4. And it also presses that little button down there.
Starter?
Yeah.
Get away. Hey. Oh, yeah. You got an old gauge, old petrol gauge?
It works when it's full. lift and across.
Which way? Ah, doing it the wrong way.
The knob lifts up.
Yeah, I got you now. Got you, yeah.
Here ended first lesson.
Yeah.
Let's hope the brakes work.
I've got it now. You want second gear pull away, don't you, really? It's smoother as far as I can see.
I thought you went up there in third.
No, I was in second. No, first, pull away. Yeah, just wants a little bit of getting used to that bit there, doesn't it? But it's all right now. But what's it, like 20 to 25? Is that his sort of money?
127.
As he forecast, Derek's plan has worked to a T. A smooth collection means it's time to head back to Thornton Le Dale.
That it?
Super job. Nice to see you. We'll do our best, see how we go.
One can't ask for anything better.
Yeah. If anything falls off, it normally does in the first 500 yards.
As he heads south, the Alvis is definitely still the apple of Derek's eye.
If you don't fall in love with a car like that, you've got no soul. You've got no taste. It's just love at first sight, isn't it?
The 1928 Alvis 1250 and the 1983 Mercedes 380 SL are back at base and ready to be unloaded.
Ah, there you go, there you go, there you go. Mind your fingers.
Lovely, aren't they, Alvis? Yeah, too old like, aren't they?
Pure quality, Alvis. Bentley quality.
They're hard work to drive.
Now, did I turn petrol off? I can't remember.
Yeah, they're that era that, sadly,
Press start.
people are getting too old to relate to, aren't they, you know? But lovely, elegant-looking thing. I don't want to go anywhere in it, really. You know, around the village is far enough.
Are we all right?
Yeah, right hand of it.
Now, Derek just needs to remember where reverse is.
Straighten up. Bit of left in a minute, yeah. Straight. Yeah. He's off. That'll do him. Fond memories of Mercs. He used to run them as a family years ago. He used to come up here on holiday and things. My mum had one. Yeah, I like the old Mercs. Can remember Christopher blaring out with your nan driving. Yeah.
The Alvis is now in pride of place, ready for the auction. And Derek is still swooning.
This is a beautiful vehicle, wonderful style. I mean, it's like a slightly scaled down Bentley, really. My sort of car, I really do like it. This car, I think new, was about 680 quid or something like that, where you could have bought probably 4 Morris Cowleys for the same money, so a very expensive car. Right up there, closely up there to the Bentleys anyway. And you can see why. Build quality is superb. Correct nickel fittings, lovely rad surround as you can see there. Lovely wire wheels, one door. Now, this was the way they were built. Bentley's the same. Couldn't really quite see the point in 2 doors. One's fine. Get in this side, slide across. We have a Speedo there, as you can see. Generally speaking, in the old days, the Speedo was over here and the rev counter was over there. And people would say, oh, is that so the passenger can check the speed? And no, because the rev counter is a lot more important than the Speedo. In the old days, you drove the car to the rev counter. You know, you took it up like 1,500, 2,000 revs, 2,500 revs, and you knew you had to change gear then. You've got 2 beautiful mirrors here. These are proper period mirrors, and they're very expensive now. These things here, if you buy these new now, you're talking probably 275 quid each. So there's 500 quid of the mirrors on there. And of course, the all-important, the key. There you go. If all else fails, there you are, your starting handle, which is a nice, manageable one. Now, I'd call that a lady's starting handle, personally, because if it kicks back, it'll break your thumb. And so I think if you've got a lady who's prepared to give it a swing, let her. That's my advice. Value. I value the car 30,000, and to the right man, could make 40,000 quid. Marvellous, isn't it? Absolutely lovely, yeah. Yeah, I think it's just so stylish. And here we are now in an era where we're losing interest in pre-war cars, without question. But when you start talking about Lagonda, Riley, Alvis, Bentley, just a different buying people, different altogether. The guy that's interested in that, he will be 60-something, but he's still there because of the thoroughbred nature of the car. Quality is always remembered long after the price is forgotten. We've got a 380 SL Merc, which are funny things at the moment. They're all over the place, prices. They should be quite a bit more than what they're actually achieving. Seat's gone, which is a bit odd, really, because the seats on Mercedes stand up pretty well. But I think that's mainly due to the great fat bum that's been in it, because, I mean, an awful lot of big guys tend to run these, being a big car. And another thing that I'm thinking about, we've had several Mercs like this in the last couple of years that, in my opinion, and everybody else's, it would appear, have been too low at the front. And this is another one. And I had a quick look, I think, when it was on the lorry, and they are pretty new springs. Personally, I would have them springs off and I'd put a pair of Mercedes ones on. Not a big job, but I think it would benefit this car no end. But the car itself's nice genuine car, not killed with miles. Probably about the last well-built Merc, I think. This era, yeah, they were still built like Munich taxis, weren't they? That's what they called them, and they were built to last, there's no doubt about it. And so, yeah, I can see someone buying that and just taking it to the next level, is the modern phrase, isn't it? You know, we used to call it, tons it up nicely and make it look a proper car.
Hopefully, the Munich taxi will fare well with the buyers.
1983 Mercedes 380 SL Auto, this is the one we're doing. Start me on it. 9, 9, 5, 9, 5, 10, 10,005, 11, 11,000 pound. 11,000 pound on the way, then 11,500. 11,500, a lovely car. 11,750, 12, 12, Claire's phone, 12,000 pound. Shorter reserve, but I'll submit it, 12,000 pound. Claire's phone, provisional.
The Mercedes, we've got bid to 12, and he'll meet in the middle at 13. So if that's all right with you, then that's that. All right, good man. Thanks, David. So that one's sold. So Tim's bought himself a Merc.
The 380 SL is staying local in Yorkshire.
In my opinion, the best car in the sound.
Next to go was the 1928 Alvis.
Where are we going to be? 27, 27.5, 28, 28.5, 29, 29,000, 29,500. We're going to submit the bid. The best
30.
bid above 30, 30,000, 30,000, provisionally submitting 30,000 to the vendor, 30,000.
Well, there you go. You bought yourself an Alvis.
It hit Derek's expectations and has a new owner in Teesside. The Mercedes SL has landed on its well-preserved radials.
It's a luxury. You just put it in a gear and you just waft along, and the road just seems to disappear, and you just enjoy the scenery as you're going along.
It's found a new home on a grand Yorkshire estate where owner Tim Hunt has bought a property for his retirement.
It's got a 3.5 litre V8, does about 24 to the gallon, so not like a modern car. It wafts along like you're in a dream. The 80s were the best time for the Mercedes. Their earlier cars were hugely reliable, but they didn't have the same level of rust protection. They were seen at that point to be elitist as well. When these came out, they became more mainstream, more people could afford them. They described this as the Panzer, the tank, because it was built so well, they're pretty much bulletproof. And when you put your foot down on it, you really know you're moving. Not too sure about brakes at the moment, but it does need a good service. The predecessor to this, which was the Mercedes Pagoda, which I would have loved to have had, your starting price on them is £65,000. And that's dream world money for me. A good one, you're talking about £140,000, £150,000.
The Merc marks the start of a whole new life and business for Tim.
I was just looking for something to do, and I've always had a love of cars. My father was a mechanic. He used to bring home cars every week, pretty much. I was very fortunate to leave with a good pension, and that's what's allowed me to invest a little bit. in the cars. I've recently bought 2 or 3 of them with the intent of getting them done up and selling them on and see if I can make a little bit of profit. If I can't make a profit, then as long as I get my money back, I'll be happy and I'll have given it a go. But it would be nice to make a little bit of profit and it would be nice to keep going. This is part of my future. I'm afraid I'm an addict now.